Hi friends, it's Wednesday, August 27th, 2014. Lynn, BJ, Jamie here, continuing our assignment, working to heal the root causes of mold and mildew and whatever they represent in the biosphere and beyond, in such a way as to trigger the awakening whose time has come. And now an interesting thing has occurred. We have discovered the mold and mildew is coming from activities from what we call the suffering realms, and that the suffering realms, of course, don't want to be healed, and so they have barricaded the doors, and the only entry point, the only way in, is to be correcting the errors that we've made in the previous sessions, to go back in time and go through the doorway of time. It's a long story having to do with working with the fabric of space-time, but this is a way in that is in accordance with the divine plan and isn't breaking any, crossing any boundaries. So our intention is probably going to be to continue to correct the errors at finer and finer and finer and finer levels of the original session that we were able to do, because that created the doorway, the gateway, and we can always go back there. And knowing that we're eternal beings on an eternal growth path, we can always improve our work. We can always make it even better, even better, even better, even better. Hence, an eternally open door to healing the root suffering of our biosphere. Now we begin. So now let's just walk right back into the moment. Right back into the moment. And all of a sudden, boom, we're here and we're in the suffering realms, and there's screaming and wailing and gnashing of teeth all around. And our work right now is to release the self-sabotage for us and all beings, Just move this up through. A self-sabotage is all, of course, a huge error, isn't it? No. Ever anything except a huge error. No. There's like something that's needed to get this self-sabotage out. Again, it looks to me like scooping up with our bare hands the toxic materials, not trying to hold ourselves separate, not getting weird and wussy about it. And so the gift of this is to desensitize our squeamishness about dealing with this stuff, so that when self-sabotage comes up, we're able to handle it effectively. We don't hold back flinching with, ooh, I don't want to touch it kind of reactions, which are natural and normal. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then we're less inclined to deny our own self-sabotage, which is, if Charlie's still suffering with self-sabotage, can we take it as our working theory? It's happening on a daily basis for all of us?
Yes.
We're just self-sabotaging all the time.
Yes.
At finer and finer levels, eternally. That's why Charlie can walk on water, right?
Right.
But
excuse me.
ask him, does he still self-sabotage?
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what I heard. Oh, yeah. Now here we are in the suffering realms, and self-sabotage is all around us, right? And so since self-sabotage is something that's relevant to all of us, especially in this particular challenging time, right?
Right.
This would be a beautiful blessing to us as individuals, right?
Yes.
To merge with the biosphere to heal self-sabotage, so that we can use our resources of time and other resources wisely rather than foolishly, right? Doing what's needed, truly needed in the situation for all of us. And we're all faced with all of us in the biosphere, not just all three of us here. This is a teeny little group. All of us are faced with a multitude of situations that feel like they're all clamoring for our attention. Does this make sense? Feel true?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like life is saying, pay attention to me, continually, right?
Right.
Thousands of voices saying that to us all the time. And the trick is to know what to pay attention to, right?
Yeah.
So here's where self-sabotage comes in, right? Where we just listen to the voices that are unhelpful rather than the voices that are helpful. So who among us doesn't self-sabotage? This is universal.
Oh, yeah.
We all do it. So we know that our relationship with our own soul is the most important thing in our life, and yet we don't even put it on the list.
Yeah.
We all share this pattern, right?
Yeah.
We're self-sabotaging by keeping a vortex that's inadequate, like not tending it, right?
Right.
by not putting in the effort it takes to keep the vortex in shape enough that we can do our work in the world, right?
Right.
All of us, me too, Charlie, 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 222. I love the way they did that. Charlie, 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 222. Right? So, let's merge in with this group of those of us who are not holding our vortex adequate to do our work in the world. Whew, gang's all here, group photo. Is there anybody missing?
No.
We're all here.
We're all here.
No one's missing. Huge error of self-sabotage of not tending our own vortex, which is just woo-hoo crazy, right?
Right.
Because this is what allows us to live our lives in sacred space.
That's true.
Right. And if we're not doing it properly, we can't do our work in the world. For example, when we drop down into hell to clear the suffering realms, we get stabbed 4 times and have to be carted out in a safety harness, for goodness sakes. So inadequate as to be crazy.
Right.
Again, they're showing us the foundational error that we made in that initial session several days ago. When we're reviewing footage, we can see that's where it happened. Like, we can identify when the error occurred, but we have not yet understood what the error is. We can feel it happening. Yes?
Yes. And know in the moment.
It's like, that's it, right there. It happened. The error. So let's have the intention to go right to the moment, right before that error. And get good and long, stretch long, stretch long, stretch long. Get the vortex thick, get it going. Ooh, see how we assumed that just by moving back through time, everything would be taken care of for us and we wouldn't have to do any of that?
Yeah.
Right.
Just being so lazy, right? Is that the fundamental error, laziness? It
Yes.
could be. It could be. It's a fundamental error.
Right.
It's a fundamental error, right?
One of the fundamental errors.
It is one of the fundamental areas. So right now let's merge with all the people who self-sabotage with laziness. Me too. Let's move to humility.
That could be it.
Oh, that could be it. Thinking we know better than higher dimension beings what's needed.
That could be it.
Ask Charlie, is this still an issue for him?
Yeah.
And now, of course, Charlie is a higher dimension being, but for him, it means those who are ahead of him, quote unquote, more
Right.
advanced than he is, quote unquote, of higher vibration. That's what
Right.
he's saying.
Right.
Those who are of higher vibration than he is, know better than he is, than he does, right?
Right.
Ask him, is that true? Do those of...
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
And does he every now and then just get woohoo crazy and think he knows better than they do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is still a struggle, or still a work in progress, not struggle. I was corrected.
Work in
He said it is not a struggle, but it is a work in progress.
Yeah.
If it's a work in progress for Charlie, can we take it as our working theory? It's still a work in progress for all of us.
Absolutely.
Woohoo! So now let's merge with a group of all of us. Who from time to time think we know better what's needed than higher dimension beings do. Bingo! That could have been what went wrong right there, right? The
Yeah.
combination of laziness and ego, right?
Right.
Whoa! There's a toxic brew. So let's merge with all the beings who self-sabotage with a combination. Wow! Of laziness, wow, ooh, and ego, wow, and clear this for all of us, knowing that. Look, see Charlie waving.
Yeah.
He's here.
Yeah.
Hi, Charlie. So I'm proud to be a member of this group. Are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm proud. Now, proud to be a member of this group, working to heal it, right?
Right.
As a group, working to heal it with no criticism, no blame, and no judgment, because we're owning it in ourselves.
Right.
Does this make sense?
Right.
That, oh my gosh, I too am concocting this toxic brew and self-sabotaging by drinking it.
Right.
Each at our own pace, but each trying to get better, right?
Right.
And that's what Charlie's talking about with this level. That's why he's offering himself in such a remarkable way to us right now, of someone at his level who is still owning and actively working to heal laziness and ego, right?
Right.
What an inspiration, right? Holy moly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Looking around us in the suffering realms where we are right now, ask to be shown how many of these beings suffer with merging. They all do. Look how armored they all are.
Yeah.
It's like the people in the prisons where they look around and say, oh, these people are bad, and they armor up, and we can understand why they would feel that way.
Yeah.
Right.
But they armor up. Everybody's walking around armored, carrying mace. It looks very
I was gonna
medieval.
say some even look porcupine-ish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
weaponed.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. They are. And so look in these suffering realms. Doesn't everyone look pretty much like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So merging is the fear of merge is the foundational ingredient in the toxic brew that leads to the suffering realms,
That's
right?
true.
That's true.
And now we know that the lack of vortex looked as where is the vortex for any of these suffering beings?
Nowhere near. Nowhere around.
Nowhere to be found, right? And so a lack of a vortex is another ingredient in the toxic brew that leads to suffering realms, right?
Right.
Ask to be shown the upward rising earth energy, these beings. Any?
No.
None.
No.
Lead plates at their feet, right?
Right.
Self-installed.
Right.
As part of their protective, it's in quotes, protective armor, quote unquote, right? So choking the life flow from themselves, right?
Right.
So that's part of the toxic brew, right?
Yeah.
And now, here's the kicker. Has to be shown where their channels are. Whoa.
Inside of themselves.
And down.
Twisted.
And twisted.
Knotted.
Inside and down.
Right.
Inside and down. And so you see how they could say, I'm looking within for the answers?
Right.
Right.
Whew.
Is that the ugliest, most disgusting energy bodies
Yeah.
you've ever seen? Well, that's incorrect.
Not the
I've seen
ugliest.
worse. I've seen worse, but those
But they're darn ugly.
they're darn ugly. It looks like it would feel horrible to live in
It
those
looks
bodies.
very painful.
So, other than no merge, channels down,
Right.
no vortex, no upward flow, we had the alignment great. Now, ask Charlie, is length to width ratio still a growth area for him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, can we assume it's a growth area for all of us?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Now, in these suffering realms, asked to be shown, what is the length to width ratio in these energy bodies?
Flat.
They're all spread out.
Flat.
Flat like
Flat,
pieces of
yeah.
paper, like is thin and flat.
Thin like crepe. Really
Yeah,
thin.
Yeah.
crepes, like thinner than a pancake.
Yeah.
Thinner than a pancake. And clearing the root causes of self-sabotage with the ratio. Whoa! And now clearing the root causes of self-sabotage with all elements of alignment, right? Whoa! And now
Right.
clearing the root causes of all self-sabotage, right? For us and all beings, for us and all beings. Me too, me too, me too, me too. Has to be shown how many of these beings, when all is said and done, will wear white hats one day.
All beings.
All of them. All of them. So tuning to that wonderful moment when we all wear white hats, right?
Right.
There. Doesn't that feel great?